Hey man, good evening, good evening, good evening again, man. I want to welcome you guys back to the Conversation 98, and I'm so happy to be back on. I know it's been a few weeks, and man, I'm just happy to really be back on. Um, you know, just took a few weeks off, and just took some time off for myself. But I'm back, man, back and glad to be back. I want to hear the few weeks. All right, yep. So we good to go on the volume, and man, I'm just happy to be back, man. Happy to be back. Looking forward to. Um, the people tuning in and looking forward to the conversation tonight, man. A lot been going on as I, continue to transition to the next chapter of my life. I'm excited about that and doing a lot of preparation for it, mental preparation. That's a big deal, man. I do want to say that that's been one of the biggest things as far as with me is just mentally preparing myself for the transition, something I've been doing my entire adult life. There's no anxiety or fear or anything like that. It's just I know it's going to be different. So I'm just doing everything mentally to try to prepare myself for it. And I've been enjoying the process, definitely been enjoying the process, looking forward to the process, looking forward to the next thing, looking forward to just the change. That's what I'm looking forward to out of everything. But again, man, we're going to get right on in it, man. We're not going to belabor the time or waste any more time. But, man, again, shout out to anybody back home. I know kids are back in school, football season kicking off, and I know we back full in the swing of it. Hey, rolling with Alabama through and through. So, hey, roll tide all day, every day. That's just how I roll. But it is what it is. But, man, I look forward to, just the conversation tonight. And for those that come in, hey, feel free to let me know where you're tuning in from. Looking forward to it. I know a lot of people busy, a lot going on, but we're going to get right on to it. But tonight we're just going to talk about the conversation tonight is the conversation tonight is stop expecting your preferences to dictate or change other people's reality. And that's bottom line. Stop expecting your preferences to dictate or change other people's lives or change other people's lives. And the reason why I say that is because so many times some people really like to project their preferences on other people. Some people really struggle with it. Some people feel like just because they have a preference that everybody else should see it that way. Everybody else should respond that way. Everybody else should view the world that way. And the reality is your preferences is your preference. That's just your preference. That does not dictate the reality to anybody else, honestly. No matter who you are, no matter how much you try to project, no matter what position of influence and power that you had, your preferences is your preference. That does not dictate or change other people's reality. So if you thinking that way, you are sadly mistaken and you need to work on that and deal with it. For real. I mean, the God honest truth, that's what that is. So, hey, let me know where you're tuning in from. If you're watching, feel free to comment and we'll try to get you on. But yeah, that's on you. And I know a lot of people don't like it, but so many times this is the issue that I have with so many people, right? A lot of times people feel like just because I'm the quote unquote parent or I'm the guardian, there's certain things where you have influence over people. But just because you have influence over people in a certain capacity, that doesn't mean that your preferences are their reality. And I know a lot of people struggle with that because a lot of times there's some preferences that we just naturally take to because that's all we've probably been exposed to. There's some things I know growing up, and I'm just using this, and I never ate ranch growing up because we didn't have ranch. My dad ate Thousand Island. So I grew up eating Thousand Island dressing. Then when I got out of the house, I started eating ranch. I started eating Italian. I started being exposed to other things, and my preferences changed. But just because I grew up with eating Thousand Island, that doesn't mean that should dictate what everybody else should like. Kind of see what I'm saying? And I'm just using that simple analogy, but that's a good analogy to look at. My preferences are just my preferences. And then this is the thing. The sad thing is, and a lot of people don't like it, but the sad thing is a lot of people like to force their preferences on other people to make themselves feel comfortable because they're intolerable of other people's preferences. But the reality is it's their preferences. Like, it's no need. Why are you getting upset because somebody else have a different preference than you? That's their preference. If somebody say, hey, my preference is I only date black people, that's their preference. If a black person say I only date black people, that's their preference. I'm not getting upset. If a white person say I only date white people, that's their preference. If somebody say I only date people outside of my race. That's their preference. I'm not mad at them for having their preference, but just because that's your preference, you're not going to dictate or change my reality. Just because that's your preference. You have the right and the freedom to prefer whatever and choose whatever choice that you choose. But just because you choose that, that doesn't mean that that's something that's going to drive or change my reality or the reality of others around you. And if you think that's the way, you are sadly mis and ill-informed. I'm just being honest with you. That's really what it is. And we all know some people, man, like a lot of people don't like to do it, but I would tell you, this is something that a lot of people don't like, but it is the truth. And I'm going to say it anyway, and they say this, sadly, in a lot of families, you have like a matriarch or a patriarch who, try to push their preferences on different people. For example, I may believe in Jesus Christ. That's me. I grew up in a family that were believing in Jesus Christ. And I have some family members who now say that they don't believe. Guess what? I have not lost any sleep over it. None whatsoever. What I can do is I can pray for them. I can lift them up. If they're open to having a conversation, I have a conversation with them. But I'm not sitting here getting upset or try to feel like they should change how they feel, their preference because of my preference. No, I respect that. And I'm being honest with you. I waste no time, energy, and effort of even trying to deal with that because that's their business. That's their business. At the end of the day, they got to give an account for their lives. I can still love them. That don't change that I love them. That don't change who they mean to me. That ain't going to change how I treat them. It's just their preference. And honestly, I'm not wasting no time worrying about it. I'm being honest with you. And it's so funny, man. And it's not just funny, but it's really sad if you sit down and think about it. And I say this because this is just a reality of really what's going on. But, in today's political climate, people judge people if their preferences are different. Man, I don't care who you vote for. I don't care who you support. I would look side-eyed at you on certain things as far as with how you view certain things. And that means like in the treatment of people or certain things like that. But because you support somebody, support a political candidate or lean one way or another, that doesn't bother me. That right there doesn't bother me at all. But at the same point, just because I may see something different than you, that doesn't mean that you're going to dictate what I see or what I believe or how I should think. And I think right now in this climate, we got so much people that's trying to feel like they can force their preferences on other people in all different walks of life. And I think that that's one of the most dangerous things in the world because not only it lacks respect, but it shows a lack of intelligence and it shows fear because you can't be respectful of something that may be different than yours. So that really what that shows is you lack an understanding or care about what you believe in. That's really what that shows me. And that's something that I look at. That's something that I view. That's something that I look at. And the thing is, it's not hard for me. It's not. And I say that because one of the reasons why it's not hard for me to care about what somebody else thinks, because that's none of my business. It's none of my business how somebody else sees something. And it doesn't matter how close they are to me. We could be married and you can see something different. We can agree to disagree. But what I won't do is, this is how I see it. And I will tell you how I see it. Don't try to change or try to feel like you're going to change me and how I see it. No, we can just agree to disagree. I can just disagree with how you view things, but that doesn't mean that I'm dismissive of your viewpoint. That doesn't mean that I'm dismissive of your perspective. I just don't agree. And so many times, man, think about how much we can learn just really agreeing to disagree. We agree that we don't agree. I ain't got to come back and try to make a point with you. But what I won't do is I won't sit down and try to assume and speak for you. I will respect your space enough for you to have the freedom to operate and exercise and have your own preferences. That's what it is. Like it's certain things that people don't like to talk about, but like right now, there's a lot of things that we talk about certain things, right? People don't like to talk about. Right now, there are a lot of people that don't like to talk about certain things that we made taboo, but I don't understand why they taboo when we talking preferences. Like if somebody have a sexual preference, that's your preference. That's your own personal business. So if that's your personal business, why are you trying to make it everybody business to the world? And why you feel like everybody got to agree with what your preference is? It doesn't matter if you what gender that you choose, if you homosexual, heterosexual, whatever, that's your business. So why should I go around and feel like I got to force that on somebody else? Or my preference got to change what somebody else's reality is? That's their reality. I can either agree with it or disagree with it, but guess what? That's none of my business. Now, what you're not going to do is think you're going to come and change mine or be disrespectful to how I view things and my preference. As long as you're not disrespectful to mine, then you won't hear nothing from me. Man, go live your best life. I'm just telling you, you live your best life and you won't hear nothing from me because that's none of my business. Honestly, it's not. And it's that simple. If we sit down and think about it, your preference is that simple, right? And so many times the reason man, this is good right here because people don't like to talk about it, but this right here is good. Selfish people will always try to control other people's preferences that are around them. And the reason why selfish people will try to control or manipulate other people's preferences is because out of fear, they want to feel like they can control the room. They are uncomfortable with knowing that they can't control what's going on because they are very insecure in who they are. They are not secure enough in themselves to be okay with, hey, it is what it is. And they start to do a lot of different things, a lot of manipulative things. They try to, manipulate people and try to control and try to spin all of these false narratives about people to try to turn people against them to make them look good when in reality, they're the ones that are scared. Because my preference is my preference. And ain't nobody going to change that. And I will tell you, man, we should get to a space where we stand on business on that. Your preference is just your preference. And that doesn't mean that you're wrong. It's just different. That's just what it boils down to. It's just different. I've talked about it before. I've said it before. I've expounded on it before many times on the show. And one of the things that I talked about, and it is so prevalent. Listen, I remember growing up, there's a lot of things that I learned from my parent in the household. There's a lot of things that I adopted based off of what I was exposed to. And I would tell you, I appreciate everything that they did for me. But as I got on my own, what I realized is some of the things, the ways and things, how they brought me up, I realized it wasn't going to work for me. It's not a knock. I just realized it wasn't going to work for me. So guess what? My preferences changed. It wasn't disrespectful to them. I still respected what they poured into me. I just realized that it wasn't going to work for me. So it wasn't a big deal. You see what I'm saying? And I had parents who respected it. They respect my choices. They respect my decisions because guess what? They raised me to be responsible and accountable for the decision and the choices that I made. So that's why for me, it's hard for me to see how some people really struggle with trying to control other people's preferences or reality for their preference. No, like for real, man, like we all, man, look, when I tell you this, people, when we sit down and think about it, man, we all got quirks. We all are flawed. We all got different things, different ways, different unique ways, right? For me, I don't eat scrambled eggs, but I like my eggs boiled and I like them fried hard. That's just my preference. I don't care about nobody else eating scrambled eggs. I can cook a mean scrambled egg, right? But if somebody come and they eat scrambled eggs, I don't have no problem with it. It don't disgust me. That's just not my preference. And you see how I can just move on with it? Some people be like, they be trying to judge people because they don't eat, oh, you don't eat no scrambled egg? No, and go kick rocks. I can be like, oh, you eat scrambled eggs. And I use that, the simplicity of that analogy, because that's the reality of what a lot of people do. That's the reality of what a lot of people do. They sit around and try to control other people's reality, which makes no sense. And it's stupid. It really is stupid. It's stupid in a lot of different ways. And it's sad to me that so many people have had to deal with that, for real, had to deal with that. No, so many people had to deal with it. I'm just being honest with you. And that's really what something that has been, it's frustrating for me. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about it tonight. And the reason why I wanted to talk about it tonight is because, people get, and this is a funny thing. And I'm I want people to understand this. Look, and this is God honest truth. Be careful around people who feel like that their preference has to be dominant more over your preference. They have to position their preference in a way to where they make it seem like their preference is better than yours. Be careful around those people, because those people aren't good people to be around. They are people who are fighting for control. A lot of them exhibit narcissistic behaviors, but if they can't just say, hey, this is my preference, that's your preference, I don't have to come back and try to advocate on why I feel like mine is better. That's just your preference. That's just what it is. And then the other thing is, don't come back and think you can assume that you're making an assumption for me. Don't assume for me. I'm not going to assume for you. I'm going to respect you in your space. I ask that you could return the favor to me. Respect me in my space. And that's all it is. But be careful around those people who feel like that they got to always, in some type of way, shape, or fashion, be the ones to quote unquote prove that their preference is better than to other people. Now, those are some dangerous and sad people. I would tell you, those are some dangerous and sad people. But hey, man, tonight I didn't want to be on here long. Just wanted to come on here, get back to it. I really appreciate you guys rocking with me, man. It's episode 225. We've been going strong. Man, I tell you, man, go and like and follow me. We're going to take this to another level, especially as I retire. I don't know what's in the future, but I do know it's going to be some good things coming. So you guys have a great and blessed and wonderful weekend. I'll talk to you guys later. God bless.